Want the weird, spooky, or just plain unexplainable? Subscribe and click notify. Our strange world. We're here for balanced, reasoned analysis.
It was a crisp February night in 2016, and the Welsh village of Pentyrch lay under a blanket of quiet darkness. Caroline Kaz Clark stepped into her garden, a warm drink in hand, drawn outside by the persistent low rumble she'd been hearing for days. The skies above her home had not been silent in recent weeks. Helicopters passed low day and night. Fighter jets screamed overhead in odd formations, too frequent and aggressive for ordinary exercises, but what she witnessed on this particular night would not only change her life, it would ignite a mystery that continues to challenge the boundaries of what we understand about our skies and the forces that control them. Looking upward, Clark saw them again, strange red lights, arranged in a triangular pattern, but this time they were attached to something vast. A structure loomed in the sky, black against black, visible only by the stars it occluded. It hovered in silence, immense and deliberate, a pyramid in the sky. Moments later, the stillness was shattered. The roar of military jets broke through the quiet, flashes lit the horizon, and green beams sliced the sky. In that moment, Clark and others in the village bore witness to what would later be described as a direct engagement between the military and an unidentified craft. The air shimmered. Then came silence and a long, slow journey into confusion, denial, and disbelief. The Pentyrch incident took place on the night of February 26, 2016, in a quiet rural area near the village of Pentyrch, which lies just northwest of Cardiff in South Wales. It has since become one of the most widely discussed and controversial alleged UFO-related incidents in modern British history. The incident began when local residents reported an unusual amount of military aircraft activity in the days leading up to the event. Jet fighters, helicopters, and other aircraft were frequently seen and heard, engaging in low flyovers and unusual flight paths, which was highly irregular for this largely quiet area. On the night of the event, multiple witnesses reported hearing a loud rumble and seeing a series of bright flashes in the sky, followed by what appeared to be the downing of a craft. The core of the story centers on the claim that a pyramid-shaped object, described as massive and silent, was tracked and intercepted by military aircraft. At approximately 2 a.m., local residents, including Kaz Clark, observed this craft being pursued and eventually hit by what appeared to be energy-based or projectile weapons. In the immediate aftermath, the area was sealed off by military personnel. Witnesses claimed the presence of unmarked helicopters, military trucks, and armed forces combing through nearby fields. Rumours quickly spread that the object had either been shot down or forced into a controlled descent. Notably, the British Ministry of Defence has remained silent on the issue, and no public statement was made to acknowledge the event. This lack of official response, despite multiple independent accounts, has raised suspicions of a cover-up and prompted numerous civilian-led investigations, FOI requests, and documentary efforts. The combination of unusual aerial activity, eyewitness testimony, and sudden military mobilization has given the incident a lasting presence in the field of UFO studies in the UK. The most significant and often cited example within the Pentyrch narrative is the detailed account given by Caroline Kaz Clark, who was living near the village at the time. Clark had been monitoring unusual aerial activity for weeks prior to the night in question. According to her, military helicopters had been flying low over the area at all hours, often at night, and in configurations suggesting coordinated drills or operations. On the night of February 26, Clark was in her garden with a friend when she observed a formation of red lights approaching in a triangular pattern. As the lights got closer, she realized they were attached to an enormous black structure that appeared to be gliding through the sky silently. She described it as a pyramid-shaped object so large it blocked out the stars as it passed overhead. What followed was a dramatic increase in aerial activity. Clark reported that multiple military aircraft converged on the area, followed by a sudden burst of light and sound. Explosions, she claimed, lit up the sky and were accompanied by what she believes was an attempt to shoot the craft down. She also stated that she saw green laser-like beams being fired and that the sky took on a reddish-orange glow, possibly from either the weaponry or the object's propulsion system. Following the flashes, Clark claimed the craft descended behind a nearby tree line and military trucks moved in quickly, setting up a perimeter. Despite the dramatic nature of her claims, Clark has remained consistent in interviews, public talks, and testimony over the years, maintaining that she witnessed a genuine event that was rapidly suppressed by military forces. Her testimony has been crucial in drawing public attention to the case and has featured in several documentaries and independent investigations. Beyond Kaz Clark, several other local witnesses have stepped forward, though many have chosen to remain anonymous due to fear of ridicule or possible repercussions. One such individual is David Davies, a local amateur astronomer who reported seeing strange light formations in the sky during the same time frame. He described the lights as being unnaturally still before suddenly accelerating at impossible speeds, unlike any known aircraft. Davies's observations were consistent with the general description of triangular formations and were particularly compelling given his background in skywatching and astronomy. A local farmer, who later gave anonymous testimony to UFO researchers, claimed that several fields in the vicinity were burned and cordoned off by the military, and that he was warned to stay away for several days. Other witnesses, including dog walkers and late-night workers, reported seeing convoys of military trucks and hearing low-frequency humming sounds believed to be associated with either the craft or the electronic systems employed by the military. The consistency of these accounts, when pieced together, paints a narrative of a significant coordinated military operation that was swiftly executed with little regard for public awareness. A woman from nearby Gwylod y Garth village reported that her dog became extremely agitated on the night of the incident, barking and growling at the sky moments before the flashes occurred. She, too, observed several aircraft in the sky and noted the absence of any news coverage in the following days. These testimonies, though varied in detail, consistently reference strange lights, military aircraft, unusual sounds, and a palpable sense of unease. They suggest that the incident was experienced by a much broader group than initially thought, raising questions about why the story was not more widely reported in mainstream media. The psychological and emotional impact on the witnesses of the Pentyrch incident has been profound and long-lasting. Many of those who observed the events firsthand report lingering feelings of anxiety, confusion, and mistrust toward both the media and government institutions. Kaz Clark, for example, has spoken openly about the difficulties she has faced since coming forward, including ridicule from skeptics, dismissiveness from officials, and the social pressure of being a public whistleblower. Her persistence in telling her story has come at a personal cost, including alienation from parts of her community and ongoing mental stress from reliving the traumatic experience. Some witnesses have described experiencing sleep disturbances, recurring nightmares, and a sense of being watched. These symptoms are consistent with post-traumatic stress, which is not uncommon in individuals who undergo high-stress events involving perceived existential threats. Additionally, a number of residents reported a notable shift in their environment following the incident. Some mentioned that wildlife in the area appeared disrupted, with birds going silent during the night in question and not returning to their usual patterns for days afterward. Other individuals have claimed that electronic devices, such as mobile phones and home security systems, malfunctioned around the time of the incident. While such claims are difficult to verify, they contribute to a broader sense that something abnormal occurred. What is perhaps most disturbing to many of the witnesses is the complete lack of official acknowledgement or investigation. This perceived gaslighting effect has intensified feelings of paranoia and mistrust, leading several individuals to avoid public discussion entirely. The unwillingness of authorities to engage with or validate these experiences has arguably had a more lasting psychological effect than the event itself, reinforcing the idea that certain truths are being deliberately hidden from the public. The mainstream scientific community has largely avoided direct engagement with the Pentyrch incident. This silence is not unusual in cases involving UFO phenomena, especially when military activity is involved. The absence of verifiable physical evidence such as debris, radar logs, or officially sanctioned witness reports makes it difficult for scientists to investigate the event using standard empirical methods. Furthermore, the stigma associated with UFO research in academic circles often deters researchers from exploring such cases openly. Nonetheless, a few independent researchers with scientific backgrounds have attempted to analyze aspects of the incident. For example, amateur radar analysts have combed through publicly available flight data and noted unusual air traffic patterns over South Wales on the night of February 26, 2016. Others have examined environmental readings from the area, looking for anomalies in electromagnetic activity that might support claims of advanced propulsion systems. While no definitive conclusions have been reached, the data suggests that the skies above Pentyrch were indeed highly active with aircraft at the reported time. In the broader context of scientific investigation into UFOs, the Pentyrch incident aligns with a global pattern. Credible witnesses report extraordinary events, but the scientific method struggles to engage due to lack of access, reproducibility, or institutional support. This has led to a gap in knowledge that is increasingly being filled by independent researchers, crowdsourced data platforms, and investigative journalists rather than academic institutions. Until such time that official data is released or more tangible evidence is obtained, the scientific consensus will remain agnostic or dismissive of the claims made by Pentyrch witnesses. From an academic perspective, the Pentyrch incident presents a compelling case study in modern folklore, government secrecy, and public psychology. Largely ignored by hard science faculties, the incident has been examined by sociologists, media scholars, and psychologists interested in the dynamics of belief, skepticism, and institutional trust. Some academics have likened the event to Cold War-era narratives, where military and extraterrestrial themes intersected to produce enduring cultural myths. Others view it through the lens of collective trauma and the human need for closure in the face of unexplained phenomena. The persistent refusal of government agencies to comment, combined with the emotional testimonies of witnesses, creates a fertile ground for what academics term epistemic injustice, where individuals are systematically denied credibility or acknowledgement due to the nature of their claims. Moreover, studies into mass perception and memory have shown that collective eyewitness accounts, even when consistent, are often dismissed if they conflict with official narratives. Some scholars argue that events like Pentyrch reveal more about societal structures than about aliens or classified technology. They highlight the rapid spread of the story through social media and alternative news channels as an example of grassroots information dissemination in a post-truth world. In this view, the truth of what occurred may be less significant than how the story itself has evolved and been embraced by communities disillusioned with official transparency. A small number of postgraduate theses have also touched on Pentyrch as part of broader studies into UFO culture in the UK, especially in relation to Rendlesham Forest and the Berwyn Mountains events, situating it within a lineage of British UFO lore. The Pentyrch incident remains one of the most intriguing and hotly debated UFO-related events in recent British history.
Want the weird, spooky, or just plain unexplainable? Subscribe and click notify. Our Strange World. We're here for balanced, reasoned analysis.
The event was marked by unusual lights, loud explosions, laser-like beams, and a flurry of military activity that included aircraft, trucks, and restricted ground access. Despite the dramatic nature of these accounts, there has been no official acknowledgement from the Ministry of Defence or any governmental body, which has only added fuel to theories of a cover-up. Multiple eyewitnesses have testified to experiencing the event directly, describing feelings of fear, confusion, and mistrust that have persisted long after the incident. Although there is little in the way of physical evidence that has been made publicly available, the consistency of the testimonies, the corroborating reports from multiple sources, and the sustained military presence all suggest that something highly unusual occurred in Pentyrch that night. The lack of scientific inquiry and official transparency has created a vacuum in which speculation thrives, ranging from theories about secret military technology to extraterrestrial visitation. As it stands, the incident continues to be a focal point for independent researchers, conspiracy theorists, and citizens demanding government disclosure, symbolizing the growing public interest in understanding what may lie beyond our accepted perception of airspace and national security. From a skeptical or devil's advocate perspective, there are several possible explanations for the Pentyrch incident that do not require invoking extraterrestrial technology or high-level government conspiracies. One of the most plausible alternate theories is that the event was part of a classified military exercise. The UK, in cooperation with NATO allies, often engages in nighttime training operations that involve complex aerial maneuvers, flares, radar jamming technology, and rapid response deployment scenarios. The strange lights, loud booms, and laser-like beams could be attributed to these military technologies, especially if experimental aircraft or drone systems were being tested. In this view, the pyramid-shaped craft may have been a stealth drone or decoy target used to train interception techniques. Eyewitnesses, unfamiliar with such hardware, might misinterpret what they saw, particularly under conditions of fear and confusion. Furthermore, human memory is notoriously unreliable, especially when events are viewed in the dark or under stressful circumstances. The spread of information via social media may also have played a role in shaping and amplifying the narrative. Each retelling of the event may introduce small distortions, which then solidify into a consensus through repetition. Finally, the government's silence on the matter could simply reflect a desire to avoid drawing attention to classified defense activities rather than an intentional cover-up. While these explanations do not invalidate the emotional reality of the witnesses, they do offer more grounded alternatives that may help contextualize the incident within a framework of military secrecy and psychological suggestion rather than extraterrestrial involvement. Speculating beyond the hard facts, the Pentyrch incident may represent a turning point in public consciousness around government transparency, military technology, and the possibility of non-human intelligence. If the eyewitness accounts are taken at face value, the event involved technologies that challenge our current understanding of aerodynamics, propulsion, and stealth. This raises profound questions about who or what was operating such craft. World governments are aware but unable or unwilling to disclose this reality. Or are we instead witnessing the emergence of a new era in military capability, one so advanced and compartmentalized that even elected officials remain in the dark? The psychological toll on the witnesses suggests that these events, whatever their origin, have real-world impacts that deserve serious investigation. As more whistleblowers emerge and declassified documents from other countries, such as the US Navy's acknowledgement of UAP encounters come to light, the global momentum for disclosure continues to build. Perhaps the Pentyrch incident is one piece of a much larger puzzle, one that, when fully assembled, may reveal that we are not alone. or that we are on the cusp of technological revelations that will reshape our understanding of physics and humanity's place in the universe. Until then, the fields of Pentyrch remain a symbol of mystery, testimony, and the enduring human pursuit of truth in the face of official silence.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Recording.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to our strange world. Today, we're really diving deep into, well, one of those cases that just, makes you go, We're talking about the Pentyrch UFO incident, or as some call it, the Welsh Roswell. David, this one's wild, right?
Absolutely, Chloe. It's a truly compelling story. So, it all begins on a crisp February night in 2016. Picture this. The small, quiet Welsh village of Pentyrch is just under a blanket of darkness. And Caroline Clark, she steps into her garden, warm drink in hand, drawn outside. Not by a beautiful night sky, but by this really persistent low rumble that she'd been hearing, not just that night, but for days. And the skies above her home, they definitely hadn't been silent in recent weeks either.
Days? Wow. So this wasn't just a sudden, isolated event then. It sounds like there was already this unsettling atmosphere building up. What exactly do you mean the skies hadn't been silent for weeks? Was there, other activity reported, or?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just Kaz hearing things. Prior to that specific night, there had been a noticeable increase in unexplained aerial phenomena and general strange noises. Think about it, a quiet village, and suddenly there's this constant background noise, this low thrum. It's almost as if the stage was being set for something much bigger. This really adds weight to Kaz's later testimony, showing it wasn't a one-off, isolated incident. It was part of a larger pattern of unease.
That's, genuinely chilling, David. So she's out there feeling this background hum of strange activity? Then what happens? What did she actually see?
Well, Chloe, this is where it gets really, really bizarre. She's watching, and suddenly, this object, this immense craft, it just hovers there in absolute silence, described as a pyramid in the sky. Can you imagine that? A massive, silent pyramid just hanging there. And then, moments later, that stillness, that eerie silence, it's shattered. The whole thing just changes really, really fast.
A silent pyramid? That's not exactly a conventional aircraft, is it? So when you say the stillness was shattered, what are we talking about here? Was it like noise or something more dramatic?
Right, not conventional at all. And this shattering wasn't just a sound. It was an eruption of activity. We're talking jet fighters, Chloe, helicopters, other aircraft. They were frequently seen and heard, engaging in low flyovers and highly unusual flight paths for such a quiet area. On the night of the event itself, multiple witnesses reported hearing a really loud rumble, seeing a series of bright flashes in the sky, and what appeared to be the downing of a craft. The core claim here is that this pyramid-shaped object was tracked and intercepted by military aircraft. This wasn't like a quiet observation. It was a full-blown, incredibly loud and visual incident.
Okay, so we've got a pyramid UFO, military intervention, and what sounds like an actual crash. That's huge. But if all of this happened, why aren't we hearing more about it? I mean, where's the official word?
That's the million-dollar question, Chloe, and it's what makes Pentyrch so suspicious. Rumors quickly spread that the object had either been shot down or forced into a controlled descent. But here's the kicker. The British Ministry of Defense, they've remained completely silent. No public statement to acknowledge the event, nothing. This absolute lack of official response, despite multiple independent accounts, it just screams cover-up to a lot of people. It's led to numerous civilian-led investigations, FOI requests, documentaries, the works. It's really fueled the fire, you know?
Wow, total radio silence from official channels? That's definitely suspicious. So, going back to Kaz Clark, what did she specifically claim to have seen during all this? Did she offer more details about the military presence?
She did, and her account is really central. According to Kaz, military helicopters had been flying low over the area, at all hours, often at night, in formations that suggested coordinated drills or operations. But then, on that specific night of February 26th, she was in her garden with a friend, and she observed a formation of red lights. They were approaching in a triangular pattern. As the lights got closer, she realized they were attached to this enormous black structure. It appeared to be gliding through the sky, totally silently. It just, defied belief, really.
Enormous, black, silent, and triangular with red lights. That's quite a visual. Did she see anything else that stood out?
Yes, absolutely. She stated that she saw green laser-like beams being fired, and the sky actually took on a reddish-orange glow. She speculated it was possibly from either the weaponry or the object's propulsion system itself. Following these flashes, Kaz claimed the craft descended behind a nearby tree line, and military trucks moved in quickly, setting up a perimeter. And the thing is, Chloe, despite how dramatic these claims are, Clark has remained incredibly consistent in her interviews, public talks, and testimony over the years. She maintains she witnessed a genuine event that was rapidly suppressed by military forces. Her consistency is key here.
That consistency is powerful, isn't it? Were there other witnesses who, saw similar things backing up her account?
Definitely. Kaz wasn't alone. One such individual is David Davies, a local amateur astronomer. He reported seeing strange light formations in the sky during the same time frame. He described these lights as being unnaturally still, then suddenly accelerating at impossible speeds, unlike any known aircraft. Davies' observations were consistent with the general description of triangular formations and were particularly compelling given his background in skywatching and astronomy. And there was a woman from nearby Gwelo Ygarth village who reported her dog became extremely agitated, barking and growling at the sky moments before the flashes occurred. She also observed several aircraft and noted the complete absence of news coverage afterwards. All these accounts, pieced together, they paint a narrative of a really significant coordinated military operation.
So it's not just one person, it's multiple people, even animals, reacting. That just makes it all the more eerie. Why do you think this story wasn't more widely reported in mainstream media, given the consistency?
Well, it really suggests that the incident was experienced by a much broader group than initially thought, which absolutely raises questions about the lack of mainstream media coverage. The psychological and emotional impact on the witnesses of the Pentyrch incident has been profound and long-lasting, Chloe. Many of those who observed the events firsthand report lingering feelings of anxiety, confusion, and a deep mistrust toward both the media and government institutions. It's not just a memory for them, it's a trauma, really.
That makes total sense. I mean, witnessing something so inexplicable and then having it basically ignored by official sources, that would definitely mess with you. Are there specific long-term effects they've reported?
Absolutely. Some witnesses have described experiencing sleep disturbances, recurring nightmares, and a very distinct sense of being watched. These symptoms are consistent with post-traumatic stress, which, isn't uncommon in individuals who undergo high-stress events involving perceived existential threats. And a number of residents reported a noticeable shift in their environment following the incident. What's perhaps most disturbing to many of the witnesses is this complete lack of official acknowledgement or investigation. This perceived gaslighting effect has intensified feelings of paranoia and mistrust, leading several individuals to avoid public discussion entirely. The authorities' unwillingness to engage with or validate these experiences, it's arguably had a more lasting psychological effect than the event itself, just reinforcing the idea that certain truths are being deliberately hidden from the public.
That's just awful, to be honest. To experience something so significant and then be made to feel like you're crazy. Has any sort of scientific body or academic institution looked into this at all?
Unfortunately, Chloe, the stigma associated with UFO research in academic circles often deters mainstream researchers from exploring such cases openly. It's a real hurdle. Nonetheless, a few independent researchers with scientific backgrounds have tried to analyze aspects of the incident. For example, amateur radar analysts have combed through publicly available flight data and noted unusual air traffic patterns over South Wales on the night of February 26, 2016. So while official science might stay quiet, there are independent efforts being made.
So it's kind of like a grassroots investigation then. Does Pentyrch fit into a broader pattern, or is it an outlier?
In the broader context of scientific investigation into UFOs, Pentyrch absolutely aligns with a global pattern. You have credible witnesses reporting extraordinary events, but the scientific method itself struggles to engage due to a lack of access, reproducibility, or institutional support. This has created a gap in knowledge that's increasingly being filled by independent researchers, crowdsourced data platforms, and investigative journalists, rather than traditional academic institutions. Until official data is released or more tangible evidence is obtained, the scientific consensus will remain agnostic or dismissive. It's a frustrating cycle, really, but it's a common thread in these kinds of incidents.
It sounds like a classic case of official denial versus eyewitness accounts. What are some of the other alternative explanations people have proposed for what happened at Pentyrch if it wasn't an alien craft?
That's a valid question, Chloe. From a skeptical or devil's advocate perspective, there are several possible explanations that don't require invoking extraterrestrial technology or high-level government conspiracies. One of the most plausible alternative theories is that the event was part of a classified military exercise. The strange lights, the loud booms, those laser-like beams Kaz described, they could all be attributed to advanced military technologies, especially if experimental aircraft or drone systems were being tested. In this view, the pyramid-shaped craft may have been like a stealth drone or a decoy target used to train interception techniques. Eyewitnesses, unfamiliar with such hardware, might misinterpret what they saw, particularly under conditions of fear and confusion. It's a possibility we have to consider, of course.
So, military ops, basically. And if that's the case, their silence would then make sense as a matter of national security, right?
Exactly. The government's silence on the matter could simply reflect a desire to avoid drawing attention to classified defense activities, rather than an intentional cover-up of alien contact. While these explanations don't invalidate the emotional reality for the witnesses, they do offer more grounded alternatives that help contextualize the incident within a framework of military secrecy and psychological suggestion, rather than extraterrestrial involvement. It's a complex balance, you know? But speculating beyond the hard facts, the Pentyrch incident may represent a turning point in public consciousness around government transparency, military technology, and even the possibility of non-human intelligence.
It really does feel like we're at a crossroads with these kinds of incidents, doesn't it? So, when you look at Pentyrch in the grand scheme of things, what do you think it really tells us?
Well, Chloe, it makes you wonder. Is it possible that humanity is being observed by advanced civilizations and that world governments are aware but unable or unwilling to disclose this reality? Or are we instead witnessing the emergence of a totally new era in military capability, one so advanced and compartmentalized that even elected officials remain in the dark? The psychological toll on the witnesses suggests that these events, whatever their origin, have very real-world impacts that deserve serious investigation. As more whistleblowers emerge and declassified documents from other countries, like the U.S. Navy's acknowledgement of UAP encounters, come to light, the global momentum for disclosure continues to build. Perhaps Pentyrch is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, one that, when fully assembled, may reveal that we are not alone, or that we are on the cusp of technological revelations that will reshape our understanding of physics and humanity's place in the universe. Until then, the fields of Pentyrch, they remain a symbol of mystery, testimony, and the enduring human pursuit of truth in the face of official silence. It's a story that just keeps unfolding.
Wow, that's a lot to think about, David. The Pentyrch incident really highlights how much we still don't know and how important it is for us to keep asking questions. Whether it's advanced military tech or something from beyond our world, the impact on these witnesses is undeniable. What a fascinating and unsettling story.
It truly is, Chloe, and that's why we bring these stories to our listeners.
Absolutely. So, to quickly summarize, we've got a quiet Welsh village, a persistent low rumble, a silent pyramid-shaped craft, military jets, green lasers, a reddish sky, and then absolute official silence. Eyewitnesses are consistent, other accounts corroborate, but no government body has ever acknowledged it. Whether it's aliens or classified military tech, the psychological toll on those who saw it is real, and the mystery just deepens without official answers. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of Pentyrch. Make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell for Our Strange World so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. We've got more mind-bending topics coming your way.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.